collective mu, individuals, posing as a singular, creating an image for a certain experience, much like humans. So, yes, it seems to be there, Roxanne. So you had a trifling of information, and it seems there's a beckoning of curiosity in the form of questions. Who's up?
I have a question.
Yes, you do.
So we were chatting about non-polarization, and I've noticed over the last month or so, I've had this natural feeling. And is that like along the lines of what we're talking about, that you have to feel it, the non-polarization?
Well, yes. See, the descript of experience is the habit. You describe your feelings,
Right.
but that's secondary. You have to describe what you have already felt. Have you ever been asked a question, or let's say in repetition of time, we'll approach it from that angle. Has anyone asked you, how did it feel?
Right.
Right? Isn't that the descriptive after it has occurred? You can't describe before because that would be the future.
Right.
Right? So yes, so what you're doing is your life has been descriptive, containing, so it's a big, large habit. You have two worlds that you're transcending all the time in the figure eight idea, the infinity between the two idea selves, your whole and your fractal, okay? We know you've had many drawings and references of imagery and illustration about the way it is, but this is mine. So you feel the connection between these two. You are always being given the non-polarity, if you want to put it that way. Because if you structure yourself from A to B, whole to F, A to F, Abercrombie and Fitch, no, your whole self and your fractal self, WF. Thank you, Roxy. So here, there is the natural always flowing through you. It's impossible for it not to flow through you. The natural would be that state of being called non-polarity. It's outside of humanity. Now, let's all understand something together. Let's be, we like to say sharp, okay? You want to take this? Okay. We understand outside of polarity. You understand outside of polarity gains an immeasurable amount of feelings that could be polarized, that could be measured. Okay, there's nothing sustaining anywhere permanency in location or time. You are the encompassing creator of your universe. So you can enact anything, anytime, anywhere, anytime you want, any way you want, period. If you have experience of it, then you can enact it no matter where you are and no matter if there's time or not. So understand that. However, your natural doesn't focus on a reality that creates measurement. Your natural is the experiencer of the unknown, because it doesn't need to give any attention, because all it does is gives you vibrational feelings, relationships to reality, non-polarized, but yet each individual circuitry of life is unique. Each color is different. Within bands of colors, you guys have discovered, I don't know, 252 or 232, something like that, depending on the time, shades of blue, right? So within the experience of a particular now, there's a billion ways truly to experience that now. But the habit or the honing fractal, energizing this little F over here, you become that reality as an experience, because the truth of you holds in place particular filters that only will offer an equation that equals a polarity vibration of experience, right? Okay, hang on. So that being said, you can understand yourself as the presence of the now. And in that, there's a way to feel non-polarized when you are sometimes just plain tired of giving a fuck about what anything means, what everything is, what it's supposed to mean, and what's the reason behind it. Everything that we've been studying, that humanity, and including us, because we are humans too, humanity has explored in limitation. So we understand when you sometimes just stop being your natural as a fractal, which is everyday life, you guys call it, right? And discover this undiscovered country of non-polarization, you start to feel a relationship with that that's remembered, and it also feels good. So when you stop defending, where do you go? Vulnerability, nakedness, right? The more that becomes your natural, the less defenses, the more non-polarity you get. So of course you're experiencing every now some portion of yourself as non-polarized, period. Because you are the embracer of that, are you not? You can't take the color blue, mix it with green without some kind of blue being mixed with green. If you are naturally this idea non-polarized, you can't take yourself and completely dissipate yourself into nothingness and not be part of the mixture of the now with polarization. Non-polarization must be present. Hmm? Yes. So you feel it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The bands of circuitry that exist in your reality are a lot. We'll just keep it small today. So one of them that the collective us have been teaching you would be that of the circuitry of time and how to travel into the nows through time, because you have to use it, because you don't believe everything is now from the accordance of your main reference point, the fractal. You're looking at everything as future and past and experiential, the now, creating memories in the now, catching up with the now, let's say, remembering your past, exploring your history through your memory that's actually already occurred. So you're literally living in the past and also in the now. So all of these things of time don't let you understand time as a different way. So we give you the circuitry of time. And that allows you to travel, but again, the ticket is what? Non-polarity, because you can't add any of the additives in of this vibration of polarization that say time is this. It's not necessarily your relationship with yourself of your worthiness that is polarized. It's the relationship with time in such a static that will prevent you from traveling in the nows in more of a freer state, that kind of idea. All of you can just, let's say, okay, become familiar with yourself in the now. It doesn't really matter what time it is. It's not really the future. It's not really the past. And let's just gaze off into a now and see what we see. And then you guys just start to picture whatever without predicating this idea journey with any stipulations of future or past. And then you start to feel particular things about that, and the picture will start to unfold, and you realize that you're traveling there. And then that moment of time will start to tell you a story about what it is, and then you'll know if it's the future or the past. And then of course you can go there because you're already there. But again, that's familiarization with that reality as real. So you spend time there, you grow accustomed to it, it becomes easier to travel. Make sense?
I think so.
You think so? We can go into it some more. I don't like you thinking. I like you knowing.
I don't feel it yet, but I'm hearing.
No, you don't feel it. No, no, no. Of course not. There you go. So you don't feel it yet because why? You aren't the experiencer of it yet at such a deep level of interaction, experience interaction, that would dissolve your truths about the currency of time that you know it today. and redefine it in that now in something a little bit more malleable. You've had many of your channelers on the planet talking about how time will shift and it becomes less sharp and edged and stuff like that. But you know, you really don't want to make it an appetite. You want to understand that this is a playground. No one goes to, well, let's see, no, let's not put it that way. There are plenty of mothers that take their children to the amusement park and force them to have fun, and then everyone has a shitty time. You know that? So you are in a playground, but if you let the children go, in other words, you're going to find what you want naturally. And these are offerings. These are things that are present that you haven't focused on because you can't see your natural. You only can see what you trust, what you know is your truth. I'm human, so I get human experiences. It's not that you want to leave humanity, but that's your natural in the fractal. Are you following me? So vibrationally, we broaden your horizons with interactions through a conduit. So we're channeled, and you guys are listening to the channel, and then you understand in your mind different realities that you can't see because you don't know. So you know them before you see them always. When you start to know them, you start to see them. Just like once you feel it, then you know it, but you have to feel it first. How's that?
That's good. Thank you.
Yes. And this has nothing to do with fixing any of you. Please don't look at that. We're not trying to give you a purpose or a meaning or a life or an outcome. You all have that very well under control, yours, to give you whatever life that you have and love and breathe into you on a daily basis is something to be experienced according to the truth. What we offer is the recognition of the filter that trues your reality to the experience. And when that filter is recognized, we give you offerings how to change that vibrational relationship so you can become um, uh, unencumbered by that filter that allows you to see more of your own light and experience your time as a human, whenever time that is, however it is, uh, as your choice is better said. So the several circuitries that are available to you, you have circuitry at time. There's an artist circuitry. You guys would understand the artist circuitry as your natural work of art. But this is not the work of art in just the limitations of painting and penciling, graphite work, and tagging things, I guess you call it. And Roxy's day was called graffiti. And the artistry of tagging and the artistry of, let's say, composing music and those art things. See, that is a human container. It's a big Tupperware that says art, non-art. The circuitry is artistry, and the circuitry of artistry would allow you to become so inherently natural at something. Nancy is a great, let's say, understander of seamstress. So she has an art form with her seamstress ability, and she teaches people how to do those ideas. Whether the relationship or the results, it doesn't matter. That is not the focus. How she does it, how she performs, that's ideology of human comparison. Stave that off your mind. What we're talking about is Nancy is connected to something that is intriguing. Other people's have numbers. Let's look at Tom. Tom understands the art of numbers. These are naturals. Obviously, Roxy found her channeling. Ta-da. Tommy Jean has several ideas because he's not so focused in the frequency of, let's say, the natural egoic structure, because autism doesn't attach to many of things. He doesn't see reality. So he has different connections with his artistry, but they're not as honed as humanity. He's a master of many, but doesn't focus on one in any particular now. Let's say, so you would understand this. If you don't have this, this is your natural that I guess, let's say, oh, we can give it to that decree, right? When your entity Nevo channeled as Bashar say these words that would do the justice of this meaning of artistry. Follow your joy. But see, joy is another category, isn't it? Because you don't understand joy and work can be one and the same. Because work is construction. Hmm? Joy is release. Right? And that's production. When you go to work, you're looking at yourself as something of attainment. You're, let's say, quantity instead of quality, right? This is your habit. So this can't be joyful, but of course it's all a relationship. If you're doing something that's tedious, that would grind you every morning upon your eyes wakening to the day, or the evening, depending on your shift, I would suppose. These ideas that are that hurt to even imagine yourself going is not your connection to artistry. People consider art to be a waste of time in many ideas because it doesn't have solid ground. What is solid ground? Whatever the current says. Playing video games in the 80s was a big waste of time. Now all those video gamers are multimillionaires because they made the games, right? So it wasn't a waste of time. It was artistry, and they reshaped reality and allowed people more and more to work from home, to free up, because these young kids didn't like the idea of grinding it out. And so you can see the dissipation of humanity leaving the grinding it out all over the world. It's like a cancer of love that just grows. So people find their artistry without giving in to tomorrow I'll be this once I have this saved. Colton can tell you all about that story. I'll make sure everything is perfect and then I'll start getting on stage. Well, that's complete lack, right? That's incredible lack. You understand that. So if you are lackful and waiting for the perfect moment for your life to start, then it will never start because the moment is full of God and the next moment is full of God. Every moment is absolutely perfect. And the only way, as Jennifer and Rose are experiencing now, is to experience full of God instead of theorizing about it and waiting for it and prepping itself and taking all the plans of actions to put into place. What it decides to do is say, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a chance on myself. Follow your joy. Back to Bashar's, and everyone debated it for the last 5 or 6 years. What you do is just go. You don't care. You don't do anything except what you do in the now. And if it's not what you please, then don't. And then here comes another argument. I'll go ahead and argue with that. Well, how do I know what I want to do, or what I want to do is making me money? Well, making you money is time. Now is joy. If I'm joyful now, my world says vibration equal to joy. If I'm scared about time but do not act the predicated measures of time, then my now must be still joy. You must understand the difference. If I am joyful and I'm acting as the joy in the moment, when a choice is made in time that determines what you call probable realities, picking up the marble, whether I'm going to get a Steely or a Cleary or spaghetti. What am I going to get? Well, I'm going to joyfully choose my now, whatever it is, despite the fears of my mind. The mind doesn't give you a vibration of lack. Choosing lack gives you a vibration of lack. Choosing to, let's say, ask a friend for money when your bill is due next week. Things like that, right? Making sure the future is set in safety and security because you can't handle the angst. See, that's the vibration that creates lack. The now doesn't create lack. The now is perfect. So if you always choose your joy in the now, what are you going to get? A joyful reality, despite what mom, dad, husband, wife, kids, financial institutions, friends, families, and foes ever say. Because they don't create your world, nor do they own your world, and nor can they influence your world. They can't. So this art, the artistry, the circuitry of art, to connect to your natural. All of you, there's a reference, where is it? Breakfast Club, they're sitting around. Everybody could do something, right? Molly Ringwald took lipstick, put it between her cleavage, did that. You know, they all had a little bit of an art, right? Everyone has a natural. But see, sometimes when they get attention for naturals, they hold on to that because they don't think their natural is, let's say, or they think their natural is all they're allowed to have. And that's why people hold on to certain things and try to fight for them. When the natural flows, careers don't exist. Time exists as careers created by the now, always. So your natural is in the moment. Roxy's been channeling coming up on 4.5 years. Okay, how long she channels is up to her. She creates another self to channel again, maybe. She goes to another planet to be channeled, maybe. All of those are time-based ideas. But what she knows she loves is she can't wait to click on the computer to get the people in front of her so she can experience her fucking joy. Period. However long it lasts, it doesn't matter because she doesn't time it. She did, of course. She's human and shedding the human relationships. She's still human, but she's relating to humanity is not so humanistic. So her joy says this. It's not a career, it's now. And that goes for everything, not just the artistry, now listen very closely, of your work, your natural, what you love to do. What you absolutely love to do, whatever it is. Doesn't matter the action detail because that's everyone else's opinion. If you are doing that natural, you will find the nows, the artistry of the now will intriguingly feel you. The natural, the knack, you will have know-hows of experience. It's not that it's built in, it's not that it's purposeful, but in the now, don't you get everything you need to create the best moment in the now? And if you are intrigued about being a supersonic jet fighter pilot, won't everything fall in your place to get you to do that? Of course. It has to, because you're creating the world. There's not one world. You're programming the holodeck every now. Nobody else. This is the holodeck you guys proposed and plugged into the program today. Here you are in the now. This is life. Whatever you passion, move towards, excited about, get, let's say, an acting, like Roxy knows she's going to sail a schooner. She's going to. There's no doubt. But she's doing it for the experience. She doesn't try to do it. She just allows her reality because she's been on the boat. She smelled, she tasted, she knows, she feels the ropes, she does everything. She's got the cleats working out. She knows the frickin' tack, starboard tack, port tack, everything. She wants to catch the wind. She just breathes it in, but it isn't happening in the now, but it's happening. So she'll get there because we're what? Catching up in time. So this artistry allows you to connect to a natural, unpolarized self that doesn't command education, measurement, ways of doing. Although, if you do want to be a CPA, you will have to get educated because your world says you have to have this license. Fine. That's your co-created world. That's your belief. You'll get that license. You'll get the education, but it's not like you'll have to study because you'll know it. Right? You'll know everything. You wrote the test, you'll know the answers. You'll know the people in the moment. Your status in the past doesn't predicate the now. Well, no, that's bullshit. The now is the now. So any kind of blockage you can put in your place because you don't have the correct education to follow your joy is one manner. Or your joy isn't going to make any kind of abundance is another excuse. All of these things to stop doing what you want to do and keep choosing what you don't want to do because one thing, because you just don't believe you're really a God, and you don't believe the now is perfect, and you don't believe there's a billion Earths. Who knows? But that's not my job. I am one that gives you awareness, obviously. So the artistry of your joy, this circuit that connects, right? That connects back and forth, never ever ceases to exist. You have an infinite supply of energy that will give you the infinite knowledge of intelligence to enact a certain now as perfection. Period. It can't happen any other way until you put your filters on it. And the notification of the filters, doubt, tiresome, I don't deserve, anything that would downgrade your isness would be a filter. Quite simple to see. So time allows you to open up yourselves in the probabilities of all times, not future and past, of course, peripheral, quadrant, anything you want to put into your cup of tea. It can be begotten by not putting time on it in and of itself and just let the mind wander about this. When you start to feel it, don't be joyful about it and don't be sad about it. Don't be thinking about it. Don't be reasonable about it. Be indifferent about it to allow your natural self, as Rose was, let's say, feeling before she could describe it. So you can do the same. Feel it and then don't describe it. Because descript would be devaluing it in the idea of its potential to speak to you as a remembrance instead of a lesson. We don't need to do that. So that's the time benefit. Now, the circuitry of artistry is not only in your joy, but artistry is many other aspects of yourself. It's not just the action of the motion, it's the relationship to the motion, to the moment, not just the action of the moment. I said motion, my pardons, Roxanne, but the relationship to it as well. If you are a master of ascension, which you all are, otherwise you can't be here, because the two vibrations don't exist, non-master and master. And we're talking a master relating to humanity, of course. We're not talking a master outside of humanity. We're talking a master of humanity ascension, of course. And of course, you get your degree through other ascensions. That idea is experiential. It is not measured, and there is no graduation for the mastery that you are. But it is a vibrational world. And this world does in and of itself exist in a certain frequency band that only a vibrational frequency match can allow it to co-create. You co-create here because you have in your natural mastery. So, as you understand yourself relating to humanity, this is what we had built in with our DNA. We knew from the get-go, in one form or another, that we were not human. We were relating to humanity. It was a tiresome a seeking at the beginning because it was always draining on you, but not draining, motivating you. Where as humans here, you sapiens, this drive to be connected created an ego. It created, I need quantity stuffed into my empty heart so I can feel alive. That's the what you call time result. Our result was we had this connection and we knew it, that we weren't human, but we didn't know how to describe it because we were just like you, evolving. But through our, let's say, intrigue of natural, not predicating the discernment of classes as you guys did, We had no appetite to be divided. We were naturally unified. And through that, through the allowance and discovery with no egos in the way, we shared common knowledge, and that common knowledge gave us a frequency understanding of remembrance, and hence our ascension occurred. So that's what happened to Mu. If all you conspiracy theory people out there want to know, well, we just left. That's all. So, other circuitries. 5. Time. Yes. Time and artistry. Let's focus on that for a moment. You understand them as an idea. They give you breath. They give you life. They give you circuits. They give you currency. Just the name spawns a dream. It opens eyes, ears. They do that every night. Oh, it does that. So know that artistry, aforementioned, is already you. It's here, and you're here. But you're here. So this here knows this here, and this here gets to experience coming to here. So you know what I'm already talking about as an experiencer of it, because you're living in the now, and you just push yourself apart with time, so you can have the experience of evolution. Okay? So that's your idea of the circuitry of time. The circuitry of artistry would be the natural self to be a God, uninhibited. The moment will be that. Time can be referenced, labels can be given. It's all subjective relationship to your artistry. Roxy didn't know what the hell to call herself. I'm a channel. What's that? What do you do? I teach online. What do you teach? Spirituality. Oh, nothing works with Roxy because it's all containment. But that was her relationship. Now she goes, I channel. What do you channel? Information on what we are. What are we? Gods. So that was a relationship she understood through her artistry to be that. You do the same. In other words, don't be afraid of what you are. The moment speaks. You add in time for congruency, safety, measurements, egos, something to rely on so you can pinpoint, so you can have something to say, look what I did. Well, look what you've always done. Are you kidding me? Look what you have always done. You don't believe it, though. You don't believe that you're actually taking a thought and vibrating it to light and creating a reality that is around you that speaks a frequency of solid. You don't believe you're actually creating a body in the moment. You, only you, creating this entire world for you. We know that. But you are. So if that's not enough, find whatever is enough by being the experiencer of the now, and you will realize the now gives you everything, and every single now you fill your heart with, it can only speak to you one thing. You don't need to go after anything else because the now is just blowing your socks off. Well, yeah. You start to discover that the now doesn't need to be measured. The experience doesn't need to be labeled. The future doesn't need to be safe, and the past doesn't need to be measured. The now just says, fuck, everything is fine. But fine isn't good enough unless it's fine gold, right? The word fine has been diminished unless it's fine china. See, the relationship. So fine is a great word. Follow my vibration. Follow your vibration. Now, the artistry of ascension is your awareness. It is your discipleship to be the most freeing person to yourself, not to anybody else. Brent, you're not going to help anyone on this planet. You're going to give you the illusion that you're going to help anyone on this planet, because that's the way you create your reality. But the stone cold big nuts of it is no one ever needed your help because no one's in peril. They've never been in peril. So you have choice right now. You can look at your past and say, is it a waste of time? And I would say, fucking A. And then also in the now, though, it was immeasurable. So where do you want to live? In the now or in time? Because the past doesn't mean shit. Everything you ever did was for you. Always you, Brent. Because that little child that needs to be potty trained is a god. The people that you might make feel better by doing your little lies and your little sillinesses of your, let's say, forgetful mind to play dumb are for you, Brent. Because everyone is perfect. No one needs your help. Not even you. You don't need your help. Your fractal wants help. So now let's understand, everyone, a new approach to Brent's artistry. He is an art major, a graduate from Chicago Art Institute. It's a parallel of lack. Wherever you focus, your artistry becomes your reality is the point here, guys. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a waste of time from one point of view and absolutely immeasurable from another point of view. It's absolutely a great thing in another point of view, what you did in time. Everything is what each world makes it through their own application, applying the reality to an equum that would give you the experience. That's it. So artistry, remember this, vibration, artistry, it doesn't speak polarity. Wherever you place your joy becomes your reality. You could be the greatest mass murderer and creation doesn't care. It doesn't matter. You could be this best advocate that you could ever imagine on the planet and change million lives. But that's only for one thing. You. Everybody else is translating you as you are translating them. The experience is yours and you can put that focus. And what's going to happen? Well, God's going to show up, isn't he? That's you. Are going to give you where you focus your artistry, your truth, your passion. If your passion is reluctance, if your passion is regret, if your passion is compassion, if your passion is sorrow, if your passion is misery, your artistry is that. That's how you're relating to humanity as you've always done. The fractal believes it is human. Well, we don't care about them. They're sleeping. Let them sleep. But since you have awoken to your relationship as a God, as we did, to humanity, then you may be able to see your own truths, your artistry at work to give you the magic kingdom you have created. The kingdom of today. We like emotions. We want emotions. We want that because that's what gives us a life. That's what gives us a feeling of worthiness. It gives us an A and a B and C that I can flash before my own unworthiness and say, well, yeah, I did do that, didn't I? I can get achievements. I can get things because I get to. You think anyone goes to work and does hard work is actually doing hard work to the world? It's the only way they can get there. So they create their life of hard work to get what they want because that's what they believe. But if they want it and they don't have to create hard work, won't they get it anyway? Artistry, folks. How you relate to humanity. Not just your passion and action, being a gardenist, creating some aloe, potting it. That's the action of the moment. But the artistry relationship to humanity is a whole nother vibrational idea. It's an expansion of your artwork. How do you relate to humanity? Haven't you seen that your action going to work, filling out paperwork, doing things, working hard, having an outcome and living a life is your mastery work? It's how you're relating. That's God creating its holodeck. You think its holodeck is not there? You think it's one earth and you're in it and being this idea and you're following the rules of the holodeck? No, you're creating the rules. You're creating how it works because you're the master of your own filters. You're the creator and the encompassing enactment and experience are all in the same now. So start relating to yourself in a completely different way. Approach yourself as a God and relate to the human experience from a new standpoint of artistry. A way you can feel your reality with no tiresome, taxing belief systems wearing you down and always negotiating with your worthiness so you stay home instead of going out. Shimbiko hanayamo ma ko shani mi ni. Mahani Chokoma Shinioma. So, what you do for yourself at this point, the familiarity of some things that we speak would seem time-based, but the occurrence is the now with the memory created by you as a time-based experience of some sort of remembrance, as if we spoke these words from a different channel before to reinforce the idea. Well, that memory was created in the now for you to harden your idea into a solid truth that doesn't need wavered any longer by the old truths, the natural to return. The actions are not done in plans. The action is done in the now. It doesn't matter what you don't have. It's what you do have. Do anything non-productive, anything that would scream waste of time. Do anything to show you that you are a creator so you can feel your artistry, return your connection of creating. this ascension, you think that this human experience is your artistry. You're creating this. So many want to join in your magic. So many. Roxy sees how so easy it is to come back. She wants to see that life from that point of view. Now she knows how fucking beautiful it is from herself because she's lost that innocent. She's lost that innocent relationship to reality. They're totally asleep and they're just doing their lives. They're just so happy doing their lives. Even though they're feeling the polarized idea, the joy behind that creator is immeasurable. To be a fractalized part of humanity, to be a part of the ascension, to be walking mindlessly and aimlessly around and going to work and eating dinners and having barbecues, or becoming a master thief and taking a crew and taking down scores, or to become an idea of a world traveler. It doesn't matter. You are on a playground. How do you relate? How do you relate? Not in purpose, not in outcome, not in sequence, not in betterment, not in projection, not in achievements, not in produce. You are the production of the now. Start to see your own mastery at work. Look around. Parents, you provided an area in the playground. You gave someone an incarnation through, of course, unconditional love. Don't look at them as a burden, or tired, or taxing. Don't measure that God. Whether that God is blood or a child that you have taken under a wing, don't look at him as a child. Look at him as a God that you allowed to come and play. I remember my playground days. Do you think I controlled my playground? I did. Someone would join the playground, I would say, come and sit. Come play with me. Look what I have. Or they'd invite me to play with them. Let me go and play with them. Right? Remember that? Think that child is a child. He's a God in the playground that you provided. Relate to reality from artistry, my friends. That twofold of circuitry, they're intertwined. The master of relating to your passion. Your passion is the enactment of the moment that gives you the ability to create the reality around you, to put it together in time and congruency, to give you the experience of aged as evolution. That's all. You guys put so much shit on top of this. You've been spending billions of years trying to figure the game out, and there is nothing to figure out. It's just a game. So start relating it that way. Are there any questions about time or artistry? Please take your time and let it come. And if you have a moment of hesitation because you're not certain, that would be unworthy of your ability.
So I have a question that's not related to that. This is related more to language. Yeah.
There's nothing related to anything in purpose. Artistry in and of itself is the way you're relating to reality. So this has absolutely everything to do with that, my friend. Don't finite it so much. Listen to what we say. Relating to humanity, you're couched in a human body, asking a human question. Of course, it has everything to do with it. So go ahead with your work.
That's good to hear. Thank you. So, so I was listening to Roxy speak in Parisian just earlier, and I really do think it's a beautiful language and all. And I know I asked this question before about how did Roxy go about learning the language, and my understanding of that explanation was that it just kind of came up in your head spontaneously,
Yes.
realization, and I don't think that really satisfied me very much.
Well, we weren't looking to jerk you off.
Okay.
What we were doing is the answer was dissatisfied because the mind encompasses itself to have a satisfactory answer. Since it didn't meet that standard of your particular set of skills, your artistry put into place to what you call a coveting belief, since it didn't match that, then you were left blue balls, huh? So
Right.
let's see if we can take you over the edge, okay? So let's understand the language in and of itself. There was two languages that were spoken, my language and Parisian. We were both in the moment, more so Parisian at the beginning because that's a commonality of all involved here. Not only the mute collective, but the collective of humanity, and the common language is Parisian. That's why it sounds so familiar, and it's quite easy to speak, truly. So you, as I think it has been spoken in the class, have your own language within inside of you. A lot of people don't want to connect to it because they don't understand it like you don't. If I gave you a process of the tape of the Parisian language, the written language, and the translation in English, then you would accept that as a way to learn the Parisian language. Well, Roxy didn't want to do that. She just understood that this language started coming about in her mind as she was oming to the Hathor's, let's say, beautiful music, translated by Tom Kenyon. That language of the Hathors, in and of itself, is a language. And that language spoke to Roxy in connection. It reminded her, familiar herself with her own natural language she loves to speak ever since she got to this planetary system so many years ago, Parisian. So it just started to flow, and what she didn't do, as you just did, is try to figure it out. Do you see the two artistries at work? The artistry of limitation, the artistry of allowance. Roxy allowed herself, started speaking it, didn't give a shit. The relationship in the mind start coming in and the words start translating. Has she found anyone else on the planet begs your idea to give her something of proof? No, no one else on the planet has spoken to her in pure Parisian as of yet. But does that matter? Well, if you put yourself in an object, then of course it does, because objective matters, because it creates outside as a physical idea, which is A, matter, and B, outside objectively, so it keeps you separated, so a lack ensues. So Roxy doesn't seek the idea of proof because she feels it more so, and she talks to many up here in that language, and she gets the exact same experience as her English translation. So now let's shift to you, Michael. You understand some things. 4 years ago, not a chance you would ever listen to the shit Steve Jobs was being channeled. But since your relationship humanity has diminished and allowed your natural filters to be, let's say, reenacted, and your unnatural filters to be, and your natural is your persona, it's not your personality. So it's just the way you see reality in your colors. So you're bringing that back. So therefore you let more color in. Roxy's a color, channel. Steve Jobs is a color, channeled. Then you get an experience and it gives you a new what? Manifesto. An absolute masterpiece. That was created through the artistry of allowance, much like the language. But since you craft an idea of friction called the fractal between things in such mannerships as relationship knowing, then this is outside and out of bounds, where this is absolutely because my feeling relationship has been good with it, but I don't think I'm satisfied with this because it hasn't set with my filter mind yet on how that can be possible, so I need to be proven. Or you can just let go and start speaking any language that's in your head right now, and there's probably about 10,000. But of course, you have a big ass filter called trust that is, let's say, dormant underneath of doubt. And once you remove the doubt, trust comes back, and then trust is no longer needed. It is, like most things, a permission slip. Can you send a copy to Steve, please?
I still haven't done that. I'll do that for you, Brandy. Sorry about that.
Oh, of Steve. My fault. Thank you.
To the manifesto. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I know. Exquisite work. So, do you understand that idea?
I'm still working on that right now. And I guess part of the reason why I asked is because...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go
Okay,
ahead.
I was going to say... yeah, I just thought that one thing, Parisian is a really cool language to learn because I just think that sounds phonetically beautiful. And I also want to learn my Korean again because I used to speak it pretty well when I was a kid. Forgot all of it, so I kind of
No,
want to
you
get that
have
back.
not forgot all of it. Okay, here, Ajimo. What is Ajimo? Ajima!
Older woman. Older woman, yes.
Odyssey! Odyssey
Man,
Seo!
yeah.
Okay, so you just lied to yourself. You said you forgot it all. You're a dictator of, let's say, how to shit on your reality. You're really good at it. Because there was 2 words, and 2 is not all. Get it?
Yeah, exaggerated.
No, you don't exaggerate. You're just unworthy to your own heart. Notice your artistry at work, master. So, let's look at this. All you have to do with the Korean is get a couple of tapes. Find a Korean radio station. They're all over the internet. And I guarantee you, if you listen to it at a frequency rate of 3 to 4 hours a day, you would be speaking the language back in a honing idea of fluent within 3 months. That's simple. Human languages are simple. It's the filters. The Parisian languages are even simpler. Because you knew those before you got to human, didn't you? Who were you first, a god or a human? You were a
God.
human. No, you were a god, right? Which one? You're relating to humanity. You were a god first, so you knew that language when you come before you even fathomed English or Korean. English isn't a very old language anyway, right?
Right.
Parisian is ancient. And when we say ancient, we don't mean ancient as in your guys measure time. We mean forever, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going. We're not done playing.
Okay. Yeah, like I was saying before, I just want to relearn the Korean language.
That's all you want to learn?
Well, as well as Parisian as well. And I just want to know how it can potentially fast track the learning process. And it sounds like it's just another matter of allowance.
So, Kushna Matito. What did I just say? Kushna Matito. What does your intuition say that I just said to you?
Brent's a dick?
No, that's your
Sorry.
shitty side. Brent most assuredly is not a dick.
Okay, that was a good guess.
Yes. Did you actually put Korean porn in there? Roxy's asking in the chat.
Is that Colton?
Yes, of course. You guys love your pain. So if you were about to tell me a story and you walked into a room and you wanted to tell me a story, how would you say that?
If I was about to tell you a story.
Yes, you're approaching me. What would you, your intention is to tell me a story. What would you say? Walked into the room. Not the story. How would you approach the story? This is too hard. Go ahead. Give it a shot.
Okay, were you asking what I would talk about in the story?
No. See, you just don't listen. I'm in a room and you're about to come into the room and you want to tell me the story. How would you tell me that you want to tell me a story?
I want to tell you a story. That's what I would say.
You want to tell me a story, right? Okay. So is that what I said in Parisian?
Yes.
Yes. But it's not in the same text. Remember, English is a very, very slow and long language. All of you human. There was a divisionary idea that went outside of it, based off of Latin. And there was a Spartan Greek language that was 10 words would be collapsed to 2, much like Parisian. So Kushna is gather and listen. Matito, story. So you put that together and it's, I have a story to tell you. Kushna is ears, listen, connection, attention. I've got something. 1,000 different ways. Make sense? But we don't use 1,000 different words. We use vibrational encompassers of intention, connection, spoken through thought blocks. Okay?
Okay. So it's a very condensed language, it sounds like.
No, it's not condensed. It's simple. You guys are complex. Because you just have to explain yourself so much you came up with 10 billion words to express your lack. Creation of God, no measurement. Have you ever read
Yeah.
legal agreement?
Right. Yeah. All the time. Yeah, they suck.
All kinds of protection, and we need to explain it fully. Hello, Dia. Does this offer any clarity for you?
Yeah, it offers more clarity.
Who else speaks a light language besides, is she present tonight? No, there's one that is not present, Roxanne says. Anyone else speak a light language? I would need something of a yes instead of a wave or two.
So where should I start, Foxy? Because that was kind of a lot of
There's
information for
nowhere
me.
to start.
Okay.
There just is. So intuitively speak a language that has nothing to do with English. Do you have any words in your head? Nanette looks like she just woke up. It is alive. Can you sound like you have gibberish?
I guess I could, but it sounds stupid.
Yes. Again, your mastery of artistry you have placed to give yourself the experience. Stupidity is a human word. It is a conceptual word according to the measurement of time. Once stupid was smart. It was very smart at one time to do such actions that nowadays would be called stupid. So you value time in the predication of the value system of humanity as evolved as turning something that was perfectly intelligent into something that was perfectly stupid. Look at your work, Michael. You are exquisite at your artistry of limitation.
Okay.
The language that you hear that you would not dare bring out in front of your other naked masters is because you are afraid of your nakedness. You are bashful, shy, modest. Roxy asks once again, should she take off her clothes? I say no, it's okay. She's done it many times already. She might be a little cold. She might be. So you have the language in your head. You want to trust it. Do you think Roxy's translating you? Oh, here, let me give you this. Do you think I'm speaking English?
Well, through Roxy, you are at least.
No, I'm not. Roxy is speaking English, so she's translating my vibration, isn't she?
Right. Right.
Yes. Yeah, speaking in tongues. It is a tough language, Tommy. Tommy speaks better Nagonian than he does English. Does anyone else have any questions for us tonight between the two ideologies? There are more that we will speak of. Yes, Jamie.
I have a question about, you were talking about your choice to create.
Must understand that you think creation is a thought in your head. The thought has already been created, therefore it already exists. It does not exist in experiential time. And since it ceases to exist in your now, when you want it, then it becomes lack, and that's why it cannot be manifested in the immediacy of the now. That's why when you let things go, your life turns into a natural playground, and you stop controlling your reality, and all of a sudden the miracles show up, and then you're an effortless lifetime. But it's the process of letting go of the filters. So that's one, let's say, foundation I would like you to have, because your question is mixed in with that circuitry. So keep going.
Mm-hmm. Because that was part of my question, because when you start being specific, then I'm wondering if it goes into the polarity or not. So say if I'm just in the now and being open to what is flowing through, you're saying that that's the choice. Or like, say if I want more joy and ease in my life, that's being specific then. So that goes back to polarity. So then I can't, if I want that, I can't create that. I just have to like relax.
No, because that's in the now. See, what you don't see is what's joyful, because you're always looking for joy. You've been taught the pursuit of happiness, and you're always, tell me what's there. Let's do this. Tell me 5 categories of happy things for you.
My son's laughter.
Okay.
My freedom.
Okay.
Relationships with others. I have some of these things, but I would like more.
Why? Your laughter in the now with your son is not enough. It needs to be consistent all the time. Your freedom, when have you not been free? Your relationship, isn't that you?
Yeah.
But you're focusing on those as points of time. So when you're not having these 3 things, you couldn't even name 5. Why are you so shitty about life? What makes that shitty?
No, it doesn't make it shitty. It's
Stop it. Bullshit. Don't fucking lie to me. What's the polar opposition of joy? You're looking for joy. You must be shitty if you're looking for joy. Look at your own logic here. You're right back to what they taught you yesterday about your mediocrity. You want to be balanced. You said you wanted joy. I asked you 5 things. You come up with 3. 3 things joy. So where are you then? Balanced in mediocrity in shitty land? That's where you are if you don't have those things. That's the filter, Jamie.
okay. Like you had talked about that we could come here to Earth and make certain things. You had talked about like a guy that was a thief that had this a gang with him, and
Of course.
so say if you wanted to create a certain role or life like that, is that not, I don't even know how to phrase what I'm trying to say.
Because you're thinking too much to try to get a formed or conditioned answer so your mind can be satisfied. You just can't accept that you are awesome right now, so you're looking for reasons to make your life awesome to other people. Are you have an appetite to be a criminal?
No, you had talked about that earlier.
I know, but that's not an example that's relating to you, is it?
No.
So what do you want to create? Joy.
Joy.
What's not joyful right now? That's what I'm trying to show you. Your filters is looking around and saying where I'm at is not my highest joy, but it is, because you've created this in the now the way you are interpreting it. So you guys think details are creation. Details aren't creation. Vibration creates the details.
Okay, so for instance, several years ago, I wanted more money to come into my world, okay? Wasn't sure how that was going to happen.
Why?
Because I wanted to have access to other experiences.
So you can't get access to other experiences without money. Filter, reality, and cumbersome, the only way you can gain money. And since your value system wasn't enough worth to get that money, you couldn't have access, therefore disappointment and failure ensued. Period. See, you just don't believe you're a god. You're trying to control and be a god through a fractal approach to life. You're using all the resources of Jamie's way to create, and those suck because they exist in time, and they exist in measurement, and they exist on a success-failure scale, and they exist all predicated on how worthy you are to deserve and have those things. And you have to use only what you believe the process is to be to acquire them. Why would you ever create anything when it's already been created? You're here playing time. Allow yourself to go for the ride to see every single moment you have created is not what the ego mind wants. Your ego mind wants money. Your ego mind wants access. Your ego mind wants things. Roxy doesn't have the abundance to move to California and buy a schooner. But she's going to go to California, might even move there, and ride on a schooner. But it's just not done now. And she trusts that she's a god, and it'll happen in the perfect vibrational connection to that reality moment, and she doesn't have to try. But as long as you're trying, look at your life. Look how long you've been trying to create. You are a creator. The fractal is not. It is a lackful creator. You're only creating the ways that you can't have things. Because everything that you want, you already have in the now, however. And that's what gives you the predication of lack. And I have to create.
Mm-hmm.
So give up on everything. Become absolutely naked. Don't ever fucking do anything you want to do again. Don't ever, ever, ever do anything you don't ever want to do again. And I promise you will find God. Anything that you do that says no to your self-worthiness, I promise you, you'll know the God that you already are. I know this. And you know this too. That's what's scary. When you let go of all control, you become God you've always been. When you maintain your control, you remain the God you've always been. The God that you know. The God that struggles. The God that strives. The God that thinks. The God that controls. The God that hopes and dreams and wonders and tries to figure out why it can't have all these things. It has to play a victim because these things don't create happiness. Those are objects. Objects don't create the empty hole to be filled. They're temporary band-aids. Look how many happiness things you've created in your life, yet you still seek your emptiness and fulfillment daily because your filters can't see you that the beauty of the now is that immeasurable. That's what you're learning today. Forget about the past. Forget about trying to be a god. Forget about getting things. Look what you have. Start to enjoy that, not from a convincing point of view, but an indifference point of view. Let it hurt, let it reek, let it stink of lack and disappointment. Let it come in as a failure. Let it say everything that it's going to tell you and give in and give up on becoming anything great. Then you shall know your greatness, unpolarized. Make sense?
Mhm.
Brutal. Good stuff. Let go, Jamie. Just be. It's not hard. It's so easy to choose your pain. You become numb to how hard it is. But the more and more you guys grow in your own love, if you make those choices of your own worthiness, then you will see how hard it is to start or keep choosing your pain. You'll just let it pass through you. You won't give a shit anymore. You'll be indifferent to murder, to politics, to fear. You'll be indifferent to people's joys, and they just have to tell you how great they are, and you're like, that's polarization. You want to experience them as natural. That's why things will stop turning you on this scale. You won't look for happiness or sad or keep yourself in the middle. You'll leave this out of the picture to become what you are, the creator behind this polarity field. That's who you're finding, and you can't do it with this brain because this brain is this world. Make sense?
Mhm.
Little spooky? You're okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm getting there more and more.
I know you are. Otherwise, I couldn't have talked to you, right? Okay. You good for now?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Dan?
You said it all.
Yes, I did.
You did say it all. I mean, all
For
the
the moment. Now the new
yeah,
moment.
all the questions that I had. It's just I can just repeat what you said. It's just like, oh, it's there. Yeah, because I wanted to say I get stuck, feeling a little stuck. As I hear these messages, I get inspired. I got it, or whatever, and then the next day comes in, and I find myself trying to stay away from polarization, yet at the same time putting myself in there as I'm trying to stay away from it.
Yes.
So, and I see that, and I'm like,
Look at yourself. Look at yourself as something that's going to absorb its own creation. And see, what you guys are good at is keeping yourself divided against your creation by trying to be non-polarity. But if you absorb by trying to avoid non-polarity and be trying to avoid polarity, Roxy, and be non-polarity, yes. Look at yourself as absorbing polarity. Let it become you. Every attribute of it must be enveloped by you as the whole, so you remembered you are the whole. The only one that's creating this separation is you, because you had forgotten. You portioned yourself in a dream, poked out of your whole self as a beam of light streaking across the galaxies, just for reference, and popping into a human body for an experience, severing itself in illusionary fashion that is not connected, and then you woke up. So since you are creating the world, then know it by letting it pass through you. And then you'll understand relationship-wise your relationship to humanity as you've always created it. Right now, you're the divisionary and the whole. And you keep going back and forth as you evolve through it. And one day you will not go back or forth because you'll become one of it. Yes?
Yeah.
Absorb it. Allow it to pass through you. Anger, pain, do not be afraid. Speak, rage, do not be afraid. Do not hesitate. Do not do anything that would say, I am not this moment. Be every moment as the embracer and creator of it, the experiencer and the explorer of it. Do not hesitate on your passion. Whatever it is, the universe must give you exactly what you need to create that, because the universe vibrationally is your equal, and whatever is your joy will be joyfully experienced in the now. If your joy is misery, you'll have a miserable life of joy.
I was thinking, what you were saying, I was getting that, say, I am like a dot in this surface. I'm a dot, and I'm always wondering where to go, what to do, what to follow in order to get from here to here or from here to here, whatever.
But
And
there's nowhere to go, right?
exactly, then I got was what I got was stop trying to
Yes,
be,
yes.
and you will become the whole surface, this whole thing. You will become that, sort of like, not in physicality, but
We understand it's a reference, so it's a parallel. We got it.
yeah, sort of like you become the whole thing, and sort of like you cease separation, you cease to see yourself as separate, and it's not anymore how you relate to it, but you literally be in the now completely. What I'm getting.
Well, yes. Well, let's look at this for a minute. Just imagine you're trying to know where to go to get from point A to point B, but there is no point A or point B. There's never in there, because you're not going anywhere. You're creating everything around you, and the illusion of movement included in that, and the illusion of time. It's all passing through you for the experience that you create for who? You. As Jennifer says, well, I just feel like I'm going to sit as a bump on a log. You're not going to sit like a bump on a log, because we don't mean stillness as in non-physicality or non-physical movement. We don't mean that still. Your whole world's creating, and part of that world is to get up and create, but not create out of lack or intention. Whatever's passion in the moment is a relationship of the toy coming into your reality. You're in a sandbox, okay? Did you like G.I. Joes? What was your favorite?
Yeah, Jesus.
I don't know if you're okay. You get Kung Fu Grip with the opposable thumb. That's a real
Yeah.
G.I. Joe when you got the good thumb, right? So you got that. And if I came to your playground and gave you 5 new G.I. Joes and a couple of the idea accessories with it, maybe the 6-wheel idea and a dump truck and maybe a convoy, let's say, an army convoy with some trucks and a few other GI, would you just sit there and not play with them?
Yeah, you would play with it.
Of course you would. So that's what the passion is. You see a toy, you get up and play with it. Good night, Jenna. You see what I'm saying? So if someone comes into your reality that says, pick up a paintbrush or pick up an instrument and start to express your artistry, then do such things. Only in the now, though, not in time, not as measurement, not as outcome, to get there, to be achieved, to be great, to be, and you never are I am. You're always lacking the idea of I am by trying to be what you already are. And the approach to that is lack, so that's why emptiness ensues, and that's why you guys keep racing to your death. First one to die wins. You following that?
Yes.
You're the stillness of the now. Everything comes to you. You pick up what's fun and play.
I feel like I'm killing things with my judgment of them.
Good, then accept your killing things of judgment of them. And then one day you'll get tired of killing things and you'll play with it. Stop measuring yourself today. Why do you measure yourself? You don't need to. Do you see that you are measuring yourself and killing and judging yourself? That's another layer of the turncoat assessing the situation of the now, because you're looking into the past as regret. Notice your mastery, my friend.
It's all fear. I'm fearful.
Good. Accept your fear.
Yeah. It's all based on, oh, well, I'm trying not to, I'm trying to do this and all this.
Camera upgrade, Roxy?
Louder?
Did you get a camera upgrade?
No.
Because it's like higher def. It looks really crisp. Maybe our settings got
Our
fixed.
eyes got an upgrade.
Maybe your eyes, yes.
Ascension, it comes in HD.
Now served.
You good, Dan?
Yes, I'm good. Great.
Brent? Thank you, Dan.
I just wanted to ask Nancy how her concert experience went.
It was great. Go ahead, Nancy. Share with us.
Oh, the concert was absolutely wonderful. I was sitting in the second row, in the center, eye contact with Steve Tyrell. It was just a wonderful night. I had a great time. I was on the way going there. I was getting dressed to go, and so my father used to call the people that lived in Beverly, Massachusetts, like the beautiful people. So I started thinking that, geez, all the beautiful people are going to be there, and I'm not one of them. But then I thought, no, I am one of them, and I'm dressing for myself. I'm taking myself out on a date, and I'm going to dress to make myself happy and nobody else. And by the time I got down there, my heart was thumping, 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 and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So yeah, it was just a wonderful evening that I gave to myself. And Steve Tyrell, I've seen him 4 or 5 times. He's just a very handsome man, in my opinion, and he has quite the following of the ladies. He's having a fun time. But he had a young lady there. She was probably, if 21, she's a saxophonist. Her name is Grace Kelly. And he's taken her under his wing, and he's mentoring her, and she's going to have a wonderful career. So go for it. Don't let any of us, even myself, I'm talking to myself, don't let fear hold me back. Go for the things that I want to be doing. So thank you for asking. Yeah. Today when I went to work for the first time, not for the first time, but the office person said to me, so how you doing today, Nancy? And I actually spoke my truth because I was feeling sad. So instead of saying, yeah, I'm doing good, I said, I'm sad. She didn't know what to do with that, so she kind of ignored me. And then later on in the day, I had an opportunity to speak to the vice principal again, and I spoke my truth to him. And he's like, everything's good, Nancy. We like you here. Everything's good. It was just something I had to do yesterday because somebody brought it to my attention, and I just had to follow through. So, but we enjoy having you here, and everything's good. So And I like how you mentioned how it's the language of light. I never heard it mentioned as the language of light. Back in the day when I used to have a period, I could speak that language. I probably still can, but when I was in pain, severe physical pain, yes.
It would just blurt right out, wouldn't it?
It was like I was giving myself an exorcism.
That's one way it does make itself naturally known.
I still can do it, but I'm
Through pain.
sure I can do it now. But yeah, occasionally I speak a different language.
We all do.
I like that. So
We
thanks.
have many languages.
Maybe someday I'll let everyone hear it.
If you choose.
If I choose, yes, if I choose.
Well, excellent interaction. Thank you,
Maybe I'll
Nancy.
start practicing. What was that? I'm sorry.
Thank you for the interaction, Nancy, sharing your story.
Thanks for asking. It's fun going out and taking yourself out on a date. Everyone
Yes.
do it more often.
Then do that.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
I
Thanks.
just want to make a quick comment on some of the stuff you've been talking about here. And I guess one thing I've just been starting to embrace lately is that, now I know Roxy said this multiple times in class, but you never really know what the fuck you want or need unless it's literally right in front of you. And no matter how much my mind tries to set up some sort of future vision or goals for where I need to be, like, I just have to accept that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing whenever I do that. And just embracing that idea has been so weird and jarring for me. But I feel as I'm starting to get that more lately. Just want
Yes.
to comment.
Well, that's good. That's good shift of your artistry. Releasing a filter to see another idea more purely. Because remember, you were taught by one of the greatest vibrational masters ever at Tilly's. And whenever you take an idea that this monster it, and you always filter it down to one or two colors, and that's your experience, period. You guys claim it came in that way, but that's a complete actual bullshit farce. You guys diminish everything to what you are allowed to through your filters, your worthiness, your truths. So as you let go of your truths and stop trying to enact them and reinforce them on a daily basis, the only thing you're going to see is a big, brighter fucking light with a hell of a lot more colors, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're experiencing now. Good work, guys.
Thank you.
Is that it before we get out of here?
I'm good.
All right. Anybody else? Good. Good stuff, everybody. From the collective of Mu, we shall bid you a good evening, and we shall see you tomorrow.